sun's fierce light, a figure stands tall in the dead of night. Shadows crawl, but he doesn't sway, a sentinel guarding the break of day. Words like fire burn through the air, a defender of dreams and the world's despair. Facing storms with an unyielding grin, the fight for truth always starts within. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. Through the chaos, a beacon so bright, leading us all to the edge of the fight. The world quakes as the battle ignites. Through the smoke, he's a vision of might. Foes gather aiming from every side, but he moves with purpose and endless pride. Try to break him with venom and lies, but he soared like an eagle, piercing the skies. A symbol of hope when the night is long, a melody rising, a defiant song. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. Through the chaos, a beacon so bright, leading us all to the edge of the fight.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, welcome back. Happy birthday. I missed that. Whose birthday was that? Somebody's husband? Was Sandra's husband. Happy birthday to your husband today. Congratulations on another day on this lovely big blue marble. Welcome back. It's Chris Wyatt Reports with the Colonel on September 23rd, 2025. Reporting from the studio here in central Pennsylvania. I hope that you're all doing very well out there. I trust that you're doing well. For those who aren't, my advice is the following. Get off of Telegram and WhatsApp refugee groups if you're a refugee aspirant. That is causing chaos, consternation, headaches, and a lot of angst for people who don't need to have that angst. I would tell you that 70% of the, or maybe 90%, but certainly 70% of the emails, of the WhatsApps, that the Telegram messages that I get are a consequence of idiots spreading bullshit rumors in WhatsApp and Telegram or Facebook, and y'all being gullible and falling for it, and then wasting my time and yours by getting all panicked, and mine by wasting my day and moments of my life that's left talking about things that really are a waste of time. So my suggestion is just leave WhatsApp. What are you learning from WhatsApp groups? Not jack squat. Anything you're learning from the refugee program is coming either from the embassy website, from a telephone call, email message from RSC or Amerikaners, or analysis by me and a little bit by Professor G. Everything else is just BS. You're not getting any facts from there. So just leave these groups. You're wasting your time and mine, and you're causing yourself headaches that you don't need. I mean, honestly, folks, the bottom line with this is that if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
And quite frankly, if it looks like a fucking goat, it's a fucking goat. All right? There. If it looks like a goat, it is a goat. Trust the toddlers. Trust the toddlers. They know what they say. Look, Ma, it's a fucking goat. That's exactly what it is. Trying to clear that out. All right, so welcome everybody in the read. There's Sam Reed there. How can they claim anything? They still have racist policy in place. Well, agreed. Don't know if you maybe chat on this. I'm going to talk about Donald Trump here in just a moment. Welcome everybody in the chat. I'm going to skip past the greetings to everybody, and I hope that you, bottom line, get off the groups. You're wasting your time and mine, and you're just believing the paranoia and nonsense. All right, let's get back. I want to make sure that how the sound is very quick before we go any further. Let's get back. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that sounds good. All right. Remember that if I do a Night Owls, it'll be an early one this evening, so that'll be for the people truly up late night in South Africa and early evening for here, folks, but I'm not promising one. That's just my plan. I've already checked in my flight. I've already paid for my bag. I've already assembled some of the electronic goodies that I need for my travel, and I've just got to go pack some clothing. I'm flying tomorrow morning, so I'll be gone for a week, and I'll be doing my shows on the road the Wednesdays with the Colonel. This week will be on Thursday, and I'm not sure if that'll be the case next week. We'll see what happens next week. Right. Okay. So Donald Trump just spoke an historic speech at the United Nations General Assembly, also known as the Dictator's Tea Salon. The Dictator's Tea Salon, known as the UN General Assembly, hosted Donald Trump. At the end of his speech, most of the people applauded, even if it was tepid, except for the bigot African leaders in the front row on the right-hand side. An entire conspicuous line of dressed like goobers, African leaders who didn't have the courtesy or the respect to at least politely respond. Those countries should be identified, and all assistance, all trade should be sanctioned. Where did he announce that at, Mad Max? 35 Rand for the super chat. Where did he announce that at? Can you tell me where he announced it at? Was it on his channel? Louis Liebenberg. What does Louis Liebenberg have to do with anything, Sedgefield? Yes, the Donald Trump gave the UN and Europeans a giant wedgie. And then he was followed by the president of Indonesia, whom I listened to for a bit before I got ready for this broadcast. And the president of Indonesia said that he basically read from the Declaration of Independence and attributed it to the United Nations. He said the United Nations Declaration of Independence. The United Nations has no Declaration of Independence. The United States has a Declaration of Independence. The United Nations was not independent from anybody. It was created. Then he went on to talk about climate change is real, the Indonesian president, and he undermined all of his credibility with a poor, speaking engagement there. Very poorly done. The Declaration of Independence is an American Declaration of Independence, not a United Nations Declaration of Independence. All right, well, if Ronaldo announced it on YouTube, I will tell you that I've known about it for some time. There's a reason Ronaldo went to Cape Town. There is a reason Ronaldo went to Cape Town. Also, if you've noticed that Ronaldo, who wildly dismissed the Freedom Front Plus for a long time, you got to be honest here, and I'll hold Ronaldo to the feet to the fire when his questions asked. For a long time, he dismissed them as a member of the DA. He didn't have anything positive to say about them. He generally didn't speak negatively, but he had nothing positive to say about the Freedom Front Plus. He dismissed them over and over and over again. Isn't it funny how times change? Now Ronaldo is a member of the Freedom Front Plus. I sort of knew about this some time ago. All right, is that the link, Mad Max? Thank you very much for the 35 Rand. Clouds are gathering. Yeah, Marula Mead also reported that. Okay, cool. Peter Faris says, thank you for everything you do. I'm very proud of President Trump, who is an awesome leader in the USA. I don't know if he's the best ever in the United States, but he's certainly a breath of fresh air. We'll give him that. Did see the light. Great for him, says Sean Nadia. Well, the DA did treat him like dirt, and the DA will suffer a consequence for the way they treated him, Andrew Whitfield, Emma Powell, and a bunch of others. Krista says Ronaldo's grown and matured over the last year. I mean, it's a compliment. Well, it's a good compliment. He has grown and matured a lot over the past year. He really has. He really has. It's a shame it took him to turning 40 plus before he grew up. Some of us grew up at 18, 17. Side Africana says, yes, he has, and now it's all praise. Makes me wonder. He will be happy with the Freedom Front Plus, but he's not going to be able to bring over his former, position in favor of LGBTQ plus stuff. That's not going to fly very well with Freedom Front Plus. Mike, what's going on? Welcome to you. Isaac says, late bloomer. Very late bloomer. The old days, he was definitely not woke. He was a little bit woke. A little bit woke. He didn't criticize his own parties. But Ronaldo's his own man. Congratulations to him joining the Freedom Front Plus. Yeah, it's one of those secrets that I couldn't share. But even if I hadn't known, I analyzed it before finding out based on the number of trips he was making to Cape Town, the way things were going on and what was happening. So anyway, Sumari, welcome to you. All right, so let's get, sounds like, no, I don't have a cold. I have congestion. And it's tied to the mucus issue I've had for a long time. I don't mean to gross people out, but I saw the doctor yesterday. And part of it's probably my own fault, based on living next to burning oil wells for 6 weeks, polluting and damaging my lungs in 1991 as the crime against humanity was committed by the Iraqi forces, none of whom have ever been prosecuted for crimes against humanity. I developed adult onset asthma, and I refuse to take medication, and that's probably what the problem is. So my nasal passages are inflamed, and I'm producing more mucus than I need as a consequence. Yes, Irene, I think you're right. All children since the 1990s have taken far too long to mature into adults. That's because you've all spoiled them. As we say in German, they're verwöhnt. Verwöhnt. They've been spoiled by their parents who've had life easy in many cases. And so they've had lots of time to grow up and live on your couch and stay in your home and suckle off your teats for far too long. That generation of Generation X and maybe not so much Generation X, but part of Generation X. But the millennials and those who came after them, they've had far too long to be lazy shiftabouts and do gender studies and queer studies and, go through 5 master's programs and never contribute to society. They've had all the time in the world. No, there's no haircut. No, I just didn't put my hair up with a gel today. Exactly, Site Offer Connor. It was never, but I knew, but I couldn't say. It wasn't my place to say. I analyzed it correctly. Hey, Shawnee, what's going on? Thank you, Rena Watt. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You must be referring to something that occurred earlier. Anyway, if it looks like a goat, it walks like a goat, it is a goat, even if a toddler tells you that. Yeah, Gen Y doesn't even get mentioned. Yeah, well, they're an even bigger problem. All right, let's get to the news, folks, because you're here for the news. Politics is about manipulating people. It absolutely is. It is. It should be about delivery, but it's about manipulating people. That's a fact. You're right with that, and Pablo Charlie. We agree on that. Live updates. President Trump criticized the United Nations during his address, says is ignoring his peace-promoting efforts. He talked about 7 conflicts he's ended. I think that was a bit of a stretch. 4 is good, but 1 is amazing, but he's gotten 4. He stretched it to 7. I don't really think he ended those conflicts. Watched by the world, President Trump returned to the United Nations on Tuesday to deliver a wide-ranging address on his second term foreign policy achievements and lament the globalist institutions that have significantly decayed the world order. World leaders listened closely at his remarks at the UN General Assembly as Trump had already moved quickly to diminish U.S. support for world body in his first 8 months. After his latest inauguration, he issued a first-day executive order withdrawing the U.S. from the World Health Organization. That was followed by his move to end U.S. participation in the United Nations Human Rights Council. Yeah, because countries like Iran were involved in it. And ordering up a review of U.S. membership in hundreds of intergovernmental organizations aimed at determining whether they align with the priorities of his America First agenda. Global leaders are being tested by intractable wars in Gaza, Ukraine, and Sudan, uncertainty about the economic and social impact of emerging artificial intelligence, and anxiety about Trump's antipathy for the global body. Yeah, well, Trump laid it on good. He even went so far back to say that in the 1980s, there was this incredible developer in New York named of Donald John Trump who made a bid to renovate and improve the United Nations headquarters for $500 million. And they turned me down. And then they laid it on and they spent $2, $3, $5 billion, and they've got cheap plastic stuff here. I was going to give you mahogany. It was going to be delivered on time and on budget. And it took years and it cost you billions of dollars to get this crap. Oh, it was classic Trump. Oh, that was so good. He said, what has the UN ever done for me? Nothing. The only thing I got from the UN was a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter. He said if it wasn't for the fact that his wife Melania was so fit, she would have fallen and broken a hip. Trump was awesome. It was so funny. What did I get for the UN? I've got nothing from them. No recognition. You know, we offered to work with them to end conflict. What conflict has the UN ended? None. We ended 7 wars. They've ended none. And all I get is a broken escalator. Wait, later he said, it's good that the escalator broke because I got to meet the lunatic from Brazil. We got a good face-to-face. I only deal with people I like. I think I'm going to like this lunatic. Oh, dear God. It was so funny. Look at my face turning around. I'm laughing so hard. All I got was a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter. After Trump left the dais, after he was long out of there, cleared out of the back room, they're running around ringing the bell for like 10 minutes. You thought this bill is annoying, Arctic. Imagine this going on for 10 minutes, trying to get people to sit back on their bums. And finally, they tapped the gavel and they sat down. And then the person in charge of the venue said, we want to just assure people the teleprompter does work. What did Hakeem the racist Jeffries have to say? I didn't hear what he said, Mike. Tell me what he had to say. I don't pay any attention to that loser. Trump, all I got was a broken teleprompter and a broken escalator. Oh my God, he railed on the Europeans. Oh my God, he ragged on them big time. Criticized European Union allies and UN. He also criticized NATO. NATO countries buying oil from Russia while they're fighting Russia in a war. That's right. With Trump, black or white, there's no gray. Oh, Trump has always had a sense of humor, Arthur. He's funny. Vanner Kruger, I've been doing the news since Friday. Well, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say. I did it today. So, President Trump addressed the United Nations General Assembly today, 80th anniversary of the world body. President criticized European allies over green energy, immigrant. Oh, yeah. Oh, he ripped into it. He came back time and again to the border, to the criminal invasion of America, the criminal invasion of Europe, to the people dying in boats. Trump really hit the hammer hard on illegal immigration, the damage, the harm it's doing. Talked about how he was clearly talking about the Brits and the French, and Germans, how you've given away your heritage, being invaded by these countries full of criminals. And and then he said the green energy is the biggest scam in history. Oh, it was awesome. The biggest scam in history. Oh, he said, I pulled out of the crooked Paris Climate Accord. Oh, these little namby-pamby, panty-wearing male diplomats are probably in the back room now adjusting their girdles and their panties and their little sports bras under their outfits and crying about how mean Donald Trump is. Can you believe he doesn't believe it? Climate change is real? I can't believe it. He called out China. China's so terrible. He called China the biggest polluter. And he talked about how the Europeans are putting windmills up and the Chinese are building them and shipping them to Europe, but the Chinese aren't putting up any windmills. It was precious. It was precious. He said, you're stupid for not wanting to end war. Yeah. And you're buying Russian oil to fund the war. Yeah, that exactly. Stupid. Exactly right. That's what he said. Green energy. Yeah. Yeah. You started smoking again, says Johan. He didn't hold back. No, he didn't hold back against China. Listen, the little bigot scumbag West African leaders sitting in the front row who just sat there like this with their little goofy outfits and didn't applaud at the end. There should be something. They should be ostracized. I get if the Chinese didn't applaud. They were beat up badly. I get if Lulu from Brazil doesn't applaud, even though Trump said nice things about him too. I get it. But Trump had two sides of a coin. Trump said two sides of a coin. Brazil is doing bad things. But I met the president on the escalator and we agreed to meet this week. And he seems like a good guy. So there you go. There you go. Oh, my goodness. So he talked about green energy, immigration, other issues. He blasted the UN as a whole, asking, what's the purpose of the United Nations? Isn't it supposed to end conflicts? They aren't doing that. I am. They aren't. I didn't hear the Macron piece. Also, I've got a video here because during this, I don't know what happened. I didn't get a chance to put this. Did I get this video? I don't think I get this video transferred over. Did I get it transferred? I'm trying to remember if I did or not. I don't think I did. Let me look and see if I've got it, because I've got it, then I can play it on here. I was moving files before this from my trip. Where would I have put that at? Oh, I didn't put it here. It's on there. Hang on. I think I know where it's at. Let me go. It's on a removable drive I've got on here right now. So let me go there. Okay. And hang on a second. Where's the file at? Here we go. If I've got it, it's going to be in here. No, I don't. I didn't transfer it. Damn it. I thought I transferred it. Okay, no worries. During Trump's speech, suddenly we started getting the Russian interpreter. I don't know if there was a break-in to the a hack into what was going on, but we suddenly got the Russian interpreter. It was bizarre. So I'll try to play the audio for you guys if it'll play. You tell me if you hear it.
Industrialized nation. Esse agenda mundialista não tem nenhum sentido. Entire societies must be rejected. País and it must be immediate. That's why in America I withdrew from the fake Paris Climate Accord, where, by the way, America was paying so much more than every country. Others weren't paying. China didn't have.
But did you hear the Russian? It was during his speech. Suddenly, there was a Russian interpreter on there. I don't know if that was a hack or what happened, but that was pretty bizarre. So it was going on for like 2 minutes. So I got my phone out and I just started recording it while it was happening. Hey, Jessica, what's going on? Good to see you there. How are you doing, PA? Wow. All right, so what else? Dozens of world leaders in town to give speeches. After several key Western allies of the United States announced before the UN General Assembly they're formally recognizing the terrorist state of Palestine, Trump said that would embolden Hamas. The rewards would be too great. Instead of giving in Hamas ransom demands, those who want peace should be united in one message: release the hostages now. Yeah, so what has happened here is that France, Andorra, Monaco, Luxembourg, Australia, Canada, UK have recognized a terrorist state that has no soil, that has no sovereignty. They recognize a terrorist state that has slaughtered 1,200 people and still holds on to kidnap victims 2 years after they kidnapped them. How many times have they raped these women and girls? 2 years. And their reward is statehood. No. These are not legitimate governments in France, in Germany, in Australia, in Andorra, in Monaco. These are just scumbag terror lovers who have the common sense of a pissant, that think that recognizing a terrorist state is going to get them to end the war. No, not going to happen. No, Ramaphosa's speech I didn't see. It was cut off. Why? Did he go too long? Trump encourages leaders to defend free speech and claims Christianity is the most persecuted religion in the world. And he's correct. Christians are the most persecuted faith in the world, particularly by their own countries. They've been eliminated from the Middle East. The Christians have been driven out of Syria. They've been driven out of Iraq. They've been driven out of Iran. They've been driven out of North Africa, wiped out completely. In Tunisia, they put police stations in Catholic churches. They use Catholic churches for police stations. I know. I've seen it. Been there. I can attest to it. It's disgraceful what's happened to Christianity in North Africa, the Middle East, and in Europe now. The most persecuted religion. Trump is correct. He said, together, let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today, and it's called Christianity. Spot on. But of course, the New York Slimes runs with a bunch of unfounded lies about Trump just moments later. This story by, you ready for this? Okay. So, by Farnaz Fahishi, Luke Broadwater, and David Sanger. President Trump questioned the mission of the United Nations and aired a familiar list of grievances in a meandering speech before the General Assembly. It wasn't a meandering speech. There were a couple spots when he started talking about Biden. That was a little bit meandering, as it convened today. With wars raging in Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine, Trump used his speech to make dubious claims about immigration. What dubious claims? He made no dubious claims. Every claim he said was factually true. The New York Times is a lying sack of horse manure. And green energy. Everything he said about green energy is true. The Chinese aren't putting up millions of wind turbines. Those are polluting the landscapes of England and Germany and the Netherlands, not China. There's nothing said about the green energy. He talked about, the people that in the United Nations in the 1980s claimed that we would be, all dead by 1990, by 2000, by 2010 because of climate change, and it's never happened. So Donald Trump did not make dubious claims. He stated facts. The New York Slimes is the one making dubious claims to slander him. and lecture the representatives of nations gathered in the room. Well, he did lecture people. He did. He lectured the Europeans. He lectured NATO. He lectured China. He lectured Brazil. Spot on. And all of them deserve it. They all need to be scolded and taken to the principal's office, and a ruler needs to be pulled out, and their trousers need to be dropped, need to be smacked over the bottom with a ruler because they're unruly, childish fools. Yep. Yep. He targeted the United Nations, claiming that he had solved conflicts around the world while the UN had done nothing in questioning its purpose. Sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. It's true. What has the United Nations done to end the conflict in the Congo? Nothing. All they've done is suck money out of my pocket for 30 plus years to fund peacekeepers so that people can grift money off of the contracts and pay developing nations money rather than giving them aid or trade. It's all a big scam. It is. United Nations peacekeeping, I've dealt with it. It's all a big scam. They're not peacekeepers. They're paycheck collectors. If not the soldiers, the countries that send them. That's why broke-ass third world countries like Bangladesh continually send peacekeepers. They're not peacekeepers. They're paycheck collectors. And we pay for it. We pay the bulk of the peacekeeping budget to the United Nations, the United States. And we've done it for over 30 years in the Congo, and war didn't end. Donald Trump came along, and in 3 months, he ended the conflict. Trump is right. He did boast. He was a bit braggadocious, even though he said he wasn't braggadocious about Trump was right about everything. He's not right about everything, but he's right about a lot. Something wrong with your keyboard mobile? Stuck on a G? You're correct, Daniel Whitfield. Christians are being targeted because of their openness and their free speech. It's easy to target people who allow speech. So glad Rama got cut off. It's nothing to say. I didn't even hear what he said. I got to check into that. He ended the conflict between M23 and the Rwandans. Yeah, he stopped that conflict. Pablo Charlie, where have you been? Under a rock? Did you not miss that? There was a huge ceremony at the White House with Secretary of State Marco Rubio there signing the peace agreement. Did you miss that? Did you miss that part? I didn't say they were going to adhere to the peace agreement. I just said they reached the peace agreement. Yeah, the UN ate money in the Congo in 2006. They eat money everywhere. Food Socks been on Radio Helderberg plus a food new outlet. Well, that's cool, Garrett. Good to hear that. Radio Helderberg. I've been on Radio Helderberg. That's right. Donald Trump is taking away the greedy profit machine, and that's why they oppose him. Not because of what he says, but because of what he does. Welcome, Hano Cop. All right, so what else I guess on here? Going well beyond his allotted time, Mr. Trump also took shots at his predecessor, Sleepy Joe Biden, political opponents and close NATO allies that have recognized the Palestinian terror state. I'm adding words here. Mr. Trump repeated his demands that we want all hostages back from Gaza without mentioning the issues of Israel's efforts to take Gaza City. What does taking Gaza City have to do with the hostages? Israel wasn't invading Gaza when the hostages were taken. The two are not linked. You see this scumbag, hateful, disgraceful, I'll stop there. New York Slimes reporters trying to tie in the assault on Gaza City to the hostages? No. The hostages were taken on October 7th, 2023 by terrorists. They've been raped, tortured, beheaded, dismembered, and killed, starved, treated like crap, and no consequences except those delivered by the Israeli Defense Force. The United Nations and these slime balls at the New York Times, including a guy named Sanger. You want to lay odds that the guy is Jewish, Mr. Sanger? Mr. Sanger. Although, of course, what happened on October 7th wasn't a Jewish thing. They murdered Christians, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists with no remorse whatsoever. Sick ghouls. They are a cult of death. They're like the SS. They are a cult of death. All of the little urchins that work for Iran, Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, they're merchants of death. Trump repeated his demand that we want all hostages back. His past promises get more food aid into the enclave. I'm sorry. It was Joe Biden that made those promises for food aid and failed to deliver with his so-called peer that fell apart. Israel's blockade of aid to the enclave amid a growing humanitarian crisis draw an accusation of genocide. Israel hasn't blockaded food. The Egyptians are the ones blockading the food, not Israel. Israel's allowed food in. That's a lie, New York Slimes. In his welcoming speech, Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres warned about the dangerously chaotic state of the world while providing a measure of hope that unity and diplomacy can bring stability. Unity can't bring anything. Unilateralism can do it. Unity doesn't bring anything except chaos. So I didn't see Ramaphosa speak. A dozen protesters were arrested outside the United Nations before Trump's speech. Outside the UN building in Manhattan, police officers swarmed a cluster of anti-Trump protesters ahead of the president's speech. Dozens of demonstrators were milling in the street near the UN an hour before President Trump. It's a work day. What are these useless shiftabouts doing protesting on a work day? Shouldn't you be at work? You want to protest? 5:30 seems like a good time. Yeah, these are useless shiftabouts who have resources to sit on their ass and do nothing except protest. Yep. Many of the demonstrators appeared to be part of the Rise and Resist, a nonviolent advocacy group. Yeah, nonviolent my ass. Formed after Trump's first election. One group, another member, Alexis Danzig, stood in line with others arrested protesters. They waited to be loaded into a police van. Miss Danzig, her hands behind her back, said she traveled from her home in Socrates to protest his speech. Other countries need to know that people who reside in the U.S. do not approve of Trump. Hey, dipshit. Other people need to know Trump has an approval rating higher than Obama. Trump had 80 million people vote for him. Almost 80 million people. We do approve what Trump is doing. Shut up, Miss Danzig. It's slimeballs like you that undermine this country and have driven it on this course since the 1960s. Another protester, Barry Spalding, said he had been motivated to attend the protest in part because of the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel. I thought, especially with what's happening this week, I better use my right to free speech before we lose it, Mr. Spalding said. He carried a sign that said fascist, accompanied by a photo. Mr. Trump said, well, Mr. Spalding, you're a dumbass. You're a serious dumbass. Jimmy Kimmel is a slanderous liar. And he paid a price for it by damaging his brand, by damaging his employer. He should have been suspended and fired. That's what should have happened to Jimmy Kimmel. Free speech, I'm speaking freely, even on this censorship platform of YouTube, Mr. Spalding. No one's taking speech away. Our speech was taken away during the Biden regime, Mr. Spalding. Were you on the streets protesting against Joe Biden and against the FBI and the National Institutes for Health, the CDC, and the White House Communications Office, colluding, cajoling, and coercing tech companies to silence Americans in violation of the First Amendment? Were you, Mr. Spalding? No, because you're a leftist hate wanker. And I had a few people come to my channel and say, oh, Colonel, that's not very distinguished saying hate wanker. You know what? I'll say it all day long. If you don't like it, then don't watch the program. It's not profanity. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Mr. Spalding, where were you when Joe Biden stole our freedom of speech? Where were you, New York Slimes, when people who are Christians were persecuted in Alabama, attending a church service in their car, wearing masks at a drive-in movie theater? Where were you when the city of New York closed churches and synagogues in violation of the First Amendment, but mosques were open? Where were you when Muslims desecrated Christian churches by kneeling on their grounds and praying when there's a mosque within a few hundred meters? Where were you, Mr. Spalding? Nowhere to be heard because you're a typical leftist elite scumbag. Feel free to share this with Mr. Spalding and Ms. Danzig. Naomi Brain, who coordinated some of the protest logistics for Rise and Resist, said the organization had taken the streets to encourage UN member companies to block Donald Trump, to turn their backs upon him, and to no longer treat him as a valid member of the international community. Well, you dingbats, if such a thing were to occur, it happens to America. Do you see how they hate America? You see how they hate America? They're already taking away the freedoms. In Dearborn, Michigan, we have Muslim mayor attacking a Christian in a council and telling him he has no right to live in his country of birth. Muslim immigrants. Now, for you who have genuine Islamophobia, this, again, is not an assault on Islam, the faith of Islam. Not at all. I've lived all over the world and in majority Muslim countries. Nothing but respect for people in their faith. But we're not going to shy away and lie about where this stuff is coming from. And people who don't clean up their communities, that's on them. What did Pablo Charlie say? Learn that if someone has to tell me they're Christian, it's a red flag. Well, I don't know about that. Your political ideas can destroy freedom. Just look at the left wing versus right wing Tribe warfare is going on. Passport rate collection 2 weeks from application. Wow, that's pretty quick for Rushka. Yeah, a lot of people experience that. Well, South Africa's trade minister, Parks Tau, the minister of no trade, has said that they've made progress with the United States. Somehow, I doubt that. South Africa and U.S. agree on a new trade roadmap as retrenchments deepen economic strain. South Africa and the United States have agreed on a roadmap to strengthen bilateral trade and investment relations despite ongoing tensions over Washington's 30% tariff on South African exports. This development comes amid growing concern at home. Trade, Industry, and Competition Minister Parks Tau met with U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Jamieson Greer in Washington on Friday, following 3 days of tense talks between senior officials. But what came of it? A roadmap? What is this roadmap? What does it mean? Is the ANC going to end racist laws? Is it going to start enforcing the rule of law and prosecute criminals and end the criminal gangs? There's no mention of what this roadmap is. Parks Tau says that the constructive talks have taken place. Really? Really? I find it hard to believe that after the repeated insults and slights against the U.S. government and the threats and lies against the United States government by the ANC over the past several months, that it's simply, oh, kumbaya. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't see it. Well, India and Africa, their 20th conclave, highlighted the collaboration and win-win relationships. Trade with India apparently is really starting to grow. In 2019, it was just $56 billion annually, but by 2024-25, it hit $100 billion. It's one of the top 5 investors on the continent after the United States, the European Union, China, and I think Turkey. Then comes India. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I warned South Africa. I warned its arrogant asshat politicians about their cheekiness, their arrogance, their disrespect for Taiwan, for the People's Republic. No, I'm sorry, that's the communist. For the Republic of Taiwan in Taipei. And they don't care. Their threats, their violation of the agreement that was reached in the late 1990s between Taiwan and South Africa's government, a majority government, mind you, led by the ANC, they simply abrogate the agreement and don't follow it. Lawless country of South Africa, the ANC. And now you're paying the price. Computer chips are no longer coming your way. Taiwan curbs chip exports to South Africa after mission downgrade. Taiwan has introduced restrictions on chip exports to South Africa. It's the largest producer of semiconductors in the world. Chips are needed to produce almost any electronic device. The decision followed South Africa's decision to downgrade Taiwan's mission in the country. This was confirmed in a statement by Taiwan's International Trade Administration, which said pre-approval for chips going to South Africa would now be required. The South African government's actions have undermined our national and public security. We are adopting measures to restrict trade to maintain our sovereignty. Semiconductor chips are a crucial component needed for manufacturing of basically any modern electronic device. Around 90% of the advanced semiconductors in the world are made in Taiwan. So, once again, the idiots in the African National Congress have pissed off the wrong people. Well, congratulations, ANC. Folks, if you want a new computer, you better go get it now. If you want a new mobile device, you better go get it now, because you ain't going to get squat in a matter of days. This will cripple South Africa's economy. Forget the 30% tariffs. Forget the 30% tariffs. You can't get new robots to run traffic lights. You can't get new container ship management. You cannot get communications, telecommunications, mobile. You can't replace servers and routers. You can't do any of that without modern microchips, 90% of which, according to this story, come from Taiwan. I think that's a bit high. But whatever the case is, you've screwed yourself. Welcome to the Stone Age, South Africa. I will soon get a tin can on this end and run a string 6,000 miles to Cape Town so that I can have a conversation with South Africans, because your country has just entered the Stone Age thanks to your arrogant asshat politicians who bow before the altar of communism in Beijing to answer to their masters while they lick their boots and their scrotums. Yes, they have led you back into the dark ages. Well done, ANC. Such a good move. And good on Taiwan being disrespected by the communist leaders of South Africa. They've done what they should do. Jacques says, why would these comrades listen to you? You're just another white racist whose colonial face irritates them. Well, Jacques, they do listen to me. They do listen to me. As does Newsroom Africa, The Independent Online, Daily Maverick, IOL. They do listen to this program. Trust me, I know. A lot happens behind the scenes, folks. A lot of things are never discussed on this program. A lot of things are not shared. Trust me, they do watch, as does the EFF. And you can tell when the EFF gets pissed off because we get waves of trolls that come after I say something particular about them. Laptops we buy aren't made here. This sanctions won't affect us directly. It can, if Taiwan decides not to ship the chips to places that third transship them to South Africa. It can very well affect you. Could very well affect you. Well, they're not producing the artificial intelligence chips. 90% of those are produced in the United States. Ask, why should the people be responsible? We can't do all these things. Hey, why should you be responsible? Because you all voted for them. Sitting comfortable in your homes, behind your walls, on your farms. You didn't engage politically with the rest of the country and let them continue to suck off the teat of the ANC for 30 years and build relations with the rest of the country. So, yeah. It's Chris Ayler's here. Chris, how's it going? Oh, your son's bringing a new laptop. Berto cannot for the Wednesdays with the Colonel and new... Huh? Berto, thank you for the 140 Rand Super Chat. I do not understand cannot for the Wednesdays with the Colonel and new honorable member. Huh? I don't understand that, Berto. But thank you for the Super Chat. Kill the boar with Sung of Potrostrom. Okay. I don't know if that's true. How much more is ANC going to bring this country down? Yeah, I agree, Pearl. Going back to mud huts. Yep. Yeah, well, the U.S. is one to pour billions of dollars investment into Taiwan, into those companies. Acer and others. PK says he's been working to wake up people. Really? Well, PK, how many of you are doing that? Please share with me how many people. I've been to South Africa over the past 30 years, hundreds of times. I can only point to a handful of people who made that effort. Mad Max has got a link for us here. Let's see what that is. Okay, why do you want me to talk about that? I've already talked about that. Thank you for 35 Rand. Clouds are gathering. Jet fuel is good for cleaning weapons. Yeah, you're all worried about laptops and phones, but your fancy cards. You're correct, Richard. Correct. Those aren't purchased. Thank you very much. Those aren't purchased from third parties. They're purchased directly from Taiwan. Yep. Good evening, F. Becker. All right, so let me get back to it. For my next square meter of the lawn. 100 Rand from Lord Scoy. Thank you for the super chat. All right, let me get back to it. I'll get to that story a little bit later on, folks. I've already covered that. And let me get back to, where was I at here? Oh, I lost my space here. I got a lot of stories here. Parks Tao. There we go. Taiwan. Okay, there we go. Kenny Kunene is being cleared of wrongdoing by the Patriotic Alliance. He hangs out with murderers, but he's not guilty of anything. Apparently that's okay to hang out with murderers. Not even given a letter of discipline. PA Deputy Minister Kenny Kunene has been cleared of wrongdoing in connection with his presence in the home of Katiso KT Molefe in July. He was facilitating a journalist meeting with Molefe and denied that he had a personal relationship. Well, bad judgment, to say the least. The party should have known about it. Well, the Times Live has done a poll. Do you think Helen Zille is too old to run for mayor of Joburg? I don't even know why that's a question. She's only 74. 83% of the respondents said doesn't matter as long as she can do the job. Agreed 100%. I think it's $1. Thanks. It may be either one. That's about $1, Borbull. Yes, thank you very much for that. Clouds are gathering. Most people are thick. Honestly, they said they would just rather not know. Also going to USA, people said you couldn't pay me to go there. Really? Well, some pretty stupid people couldn't pay you to go there. Yeah. Masamola says that Nkunu disbanded the task team to halt investigations against criminal cartels. National Police Commissioner General Fani Masamola continued testifying before the commission today. He told the commission the decision to disband the political killings task team was driven by a desire to halt investigations against criminal cartels. Well, there's your evidence. Mkwanazi may not have provided evidence, but Fanny Masemola is providing evidence. Fochville protests taking place over water and $1.4 billion in debt. Fochville residents blockaded the R500 road, demanding water restoration and the resignation of the mayor. The municipality owes Iran Water $1.4 billion because all those people standing there probably didn't pay their water bills. Yet they're protesting and dancing and toy-toying in the streets. Hundreds of furious residents blockaded a part of the R500 leading to the N12 freeway on Tuesday, demanding immediate restoration of their water supply. Well, you want water? Go dig a borehole. That's how it's done. Well, Wade van Niekerk makes a ludicrous statement here, if I read his statement correctly. Invest in athletes like their rugby cricket players, Wade van Niekerk. South Africa has depth to win the 4x400 medal with or without me, says Wade van Niekerk. I really been exposed to the fact that you can't expect gold medals from guys you are not treating like gold medalists. If we're going to look at our actual champions of the world, rugby and cricket, they put proper investment in these teams. The players don't need to think, what is my next plan B, said the 33-year-old. We can't be having athletes thinking of what needs to be done now after track and field. The guys we're competing against, their only focus is to bring their country a gold medal. That's not the purpose of athletics, Wade van Niekerk, and it's not the role of taxpayers to fund your luxurious lifestyle. If you can't make money in a sport, or you can't make it on your own, then you shouldn't be doing it. It's not the role. You people have a warped system, a sense of what's right and wrong. It's not the role of government. The United States Olympic team is not supported by the taxpayer. The United States Olympic team is paid for by donations and corporate sponsorship. And athletes only get that money when they get to a certain level. Before that, their families have to invest. And you want us, or you want the taxpayers in South Africa to fund your luxurious lifestyle, your travel around the world while people go hungry, children die in Port Elizabeth. I'm sorry, Wade van Niekerk. You're a nice guy and you're a very good athlete, but your head is full of garbage. If you want South African athletics to invest in it, fine. Then they need to go find corporate sponsors. They need to go find ways to raise money. They need to find generous donors who have money to spare. But don't lay this on the taxpayer. That is not the purpose of athletics. That is not the role of tax dollars, to fund athletes, to pay people for winning gold medals. That's bullshit. That's communism. That's socialism. That's what the Soviets did. Why do you think the Soviets won so many medals? Because they had an industrialized commercial sports market. All of their athletes were basically paid athletes, while the Olympics is about amateurs. It's supposed to be about amateur competition. I'm sorry, Wade van Niekerk has got his head up his butt on this one. Well, the story with the Kiffness, that I don't know if he exposed it, about all this money from Samro, from artists being, pilfered. Well, that story is still around. Music publishing giants implicated in a report on its 62 million rand irregular royalty claims at Samro. In 2022, the Southern African Music Rights Organization, COO, Mpho Mofiko, commissioned an investigation into allegations of irregular royalty claims amounting to 62 million by 4 of its board members and 56 other publishers and composers. Upon its completion, Samro immediately buried the report, a copy of which Daily Maverick has finally obtained. It's the first installment in a series of stories unpacking the report's findings. This story by Diana Nell. In 2020, the Southern African Music Rights Organization, Samro, launched a new digital platform that opened up its entire undocumented works catalog to all 156,000 plus of its members, instead of just the larger music publishers who dominate the industry. Despite Samro's stated good intention of opening the portal to make the claims process easier and more transparent, this proved to be a catastrophic decision. These royalties are not the property of Samro, but belong to our members and cannot be unclaimed indefinitely. Allowing members to claim their works ensures that the rightful owners receive their due compensation. In 2022, almost 62 million in claims made via the platform were investigated by forensic services, triggering a multi-million rand payment to a company called Sheer Publishing, which was intercepted and deemed irregular. There is no indication that the members who were paid submitted proof of copyright for the works that they claim. So just like YouTube, these are fraudulent copyright claims attacking content creators and artists. Yep, I know what that's like. So not being paid. Double life sentence for the Richmond municipal manager's murder. The hitman. Convicted hitman Sabelo Puebwa, responsible for 2017 murder of Richmond municipal manager Sibusiso Sitole, was sentenced to 2 life terms. Why aren't they sentenced to death? Why did they get to get out after a couple of years? The 34-year-old was sentenced in Durban High Court. Judge Rithi Sang for the death, as well as the murder of Amos Nkopo in 2017. He gets 5 years for the attempted murder of Constable Bolgani Ngema, 15 years for possession of an illegal firearm, and 5 years for unlawful possession of ammunition. Plus 2 life sentences, which means he'll be out in 5 to 10 years, walking the streets again to murder again. Excuse me. What was thought to be extinct? A sawfish. 3-meter long sawfish appears on the beach in the Eastern Cape. Wow. Extinct? Not really. Only extinct in South Africa. 3-meter. Look at that. Look at the bottom of that. He's got like a sad face. That's actually what a sawfish looks like underneath. Look at that. Breathing holes and a mouth for taking in their nutrition. A 3-meter sawfish, previously thought to be extinct since there was no recorded sightings of the species in 26 years, was found at the Birha River mouth, 90 kilometers from East London, on Friday, September 19th. The find also has experts in orca predation interested because it appears something took a big bite out of the fish before it stranded. Yeah, so there he is upside down, cut in half there. There's the front half of the sawfish. Something took a bite out of the head. But gulls were eating it, and someone stole its organs before it was found. There he is. They cut the middle out. Look at that. People thought this thing was extinct in South Africa. There it is. The wide view. It's found on the beach. Huh. There you go. Well, it's just like the coelacanth. People said the coelacanth was an ancient dinosaur-era fish that died off. Hadn't been seen. And then we found them in the 1930s. Mauritius' Prime Minister Ramgoolam asked the central bank governor Sitanan to step down. A little something to grab a coffee on the airport. Well, thank you so much for that, Etienne. Clouds are gathering. Thank you for that super chat. By the way, super chats and membership revenue and ad revenue, especially ad revenue, off the charts. This will be the worst month this year since January for revenue for the channel. For those who think I do this for money, if I did, I wouldn't be doing this today because we're not making money. Thank you so much for the 350 Rand super chat. I really appreciate that. Well, the Mauritius Prime Minister has asked for the central banker to step down. There are no reports in the press calling this a crisis of democracy. But when Trump tells a corrupt or a corruption-implicated member, a governor of the board of the Federal Reserve, that she's fired, apparently democracy is at risk. Mauritius Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam said on Saturday he had asked the central bank governor to step down and will appoint a new second deputy governor on Monday and thereafter a new governor amid signs of a power struggle at the bank. So, interesting. So he can do that, but apparently Donald Trump does. It's a threat to democracy. Former Malawian President Peter Mutharika, who usurped power illegally after his brother died, is ahead in Malawi's elections. Former Malawian President Peter Mutharika held a strong leader of incumbent Lazarus Chakwera in partial results released Monday. Mutharika lost his presidency to Chakwera 5 years in election rerun. Mutharika, the 85-year-old Democratic Progressive Party, won the 2019 election only for a court to cancel the result months later because of irregularities and a reorder. In this vote, Mutharika received 68% of votes after results from 24 of 36 councils were declared. Chakwera, the 70-year-old from Malawi Congress Party, was second with just over 20% of the vote. The current president won the rerun in 2020, but his first term has been characterized by steep rise in the cost of living, widespread poverty, and inflation over 27%. So, there you go. He is going to be cast aside, Lazarus Chakwera. Well, Safaricom, a potential split. Kenya is not spoken to the board. It's the folks who brought you the M-Pesa where you can transfer money on your phone. Kenya's government is yet to engage the board of Safaricom about a potential plan to split the biggest company into 3 separate firms. The Kenya government and South Africa's Vodacom group together own 70% of Safaricom, but no plan has been approved so far. The RSF attacks kill more than 70 in the Al Fashir region, according to Sovereignty Council. EU extends sanctions against Sudan by 1 year. More than 70 people were killed in Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces carried out a drone strike on a mosque in Al Fashir. Let me ask you a question, folks. Who's the Islamophobe? The people who complain about their neighborhoods being invaded by people who are different, or the people who actually murder Muslims? Who's the Islamophobe? The people who target mosque? I think it's a fair question. Just saying. Starvation or execution? This is the situation in Al Fashir. Families in Al Fashir are eating animal feed. Children have been raped while foraging for food, and those who try to escape have been kidnapped or killed. For the hundreds of thousands of civilians trapped inside the besieged Sudanese city of El Fashir, suffering waits at every turn. They face death by starvation, disease, or bombardment if they stay. Those who leave have been kidnapped, raped, and tortured. The city falls. Rights groups warn it could trigger the largest bloodbath yet in the country's catastrophic civil war. Of course, El Fashir is in the Darfur region. It's the last city in the western Darfur region outside the control of the RSF. 11,000 soldiers and allied fighters are now struggling to hold the city, the last refuge for more than 250,000 people, many of whom have fled massacres and ruined villages in other parts of Darfur. And the world is quiet. Where is the ANC? Where is the ANC? Where's the South African government about the genocide taking place in Darfur? What's that? Silence. Silence. Where's the ANC and the genocide taking place with Myanmar? Silence. With the Uyghurs in China, the Rohingya Myanmar. I'm sorry. We heard some idiot talking to Mark Oppenheimer in a video saying that South Africa stands with the angels, that they did the right thing standing up on the Gaza, but they didn't do the right thing in Myanmar, China, Tigray, Chad, or Sudan. Crickets. Crickets. Hypocrites. Bodies in suitcases. This story comes from New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. Another country allowed itself to be invaded, particularly from China, undermining its country. Hak Yong Lee was accused of killing her children and leaving their bodies in suitcases in a storage unit for 4 years. A mother accused of murdering her 2 children and hiding their bodies in suitcases for 4 years has been found guilty. The remains of Hak Yong Jasmine Lee's 2 children, Yuna, age 8, and Minu, 6, were found in an Auckland storage unit in August of 2022 after the contents were purchased at an online auction. Police witnesses told her trial that they believe the children were killed in July 2018 after she gave them an overdose of prescription medicine. The 45-year-old, who represented herself in court, watched the trial from a separate courtroom at the High Court in Auckland. She was assisted by an interpreter and 2 counsels. I'm sorry. She's been in New Zealand since at least 2018, and she needs a frickin' interpreter to understand English? 2019, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years in New Zealand. She murders her children and sticks them in a suitcase in a storage unit, and in 7 years, she can't speak English? This is not immigration. This is invasion. This is an alien force invading countries and trying to undermine the cultural norms, mores, values, and laws of that country. A la France, UK, Ireland, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, Spain, Canada, and the United States. Seriously. Wow. She said losing her husband had caused a deep descent into mental illness and that she believed killing them was morally the right thing to do at the time. Under New Zealand law, a person is presumed to be sane until proven otherwise. She tried to claim she was crazy. Forensic accountant Andrew Yoon in New Zealand earlier gave evidence that Lee's total credit card spending went up by 1,397% from $800 a month in the approximate 10 months beforehand to $11,992 a month in the 8 months after, excluding funeral costs. From the credit cards, purchased a lot of international flights and 5-star hotels overseas and lots of expensive shopping. That included taking the children and her mother to the Gold Coast in Australia. Yoon calculated after his passing, she spent $35,000, more than $4,000 a month on holidays and travel alone. She also made payments totaling $16,000 in a safe store where the children's bodies were kept, moving money between different bank accounts to make sure storage payments were up to date when the balance of her primary account got low. When she left New Zealand after the deaths of her children, she transferred $152,000 to her Korean bank account. Lee's mother, Chun Ya Lee, told the court her daughter had a happy family. Really? She murdered her children. Sick. Well, the United States has banned Iranian diplomats from shopping at Costco, BJ's, and Sam's Club. Yep. The Trump administration has banned Iranian officials in New York from visiting wholesale shopping outlets like Costco, Sam's Club, or BJ's. Officially banned them this week, marking an unusual act of pressure on diplomats during the annual high-level meetings in New York. In a notice the Federal Register published on Tuesday, the administration ordered the Iranian officials who worked at the United Nations New York mission and officials who travel to UN-related work would be barred from having membership at the wholesale outlets or otherwise purchasing from the outlets. The notice also said the Iranian officials would have to obtain permission from the State Department's Office of Foreign Missions if they wanted to buy luxury goods while in the United States. We will not allow the Iranian regime to allow its clerical elites to have the shopping spree in the United States while they force their own people in Iran to endure poverty and dire shortage of basic needs. In a separate notice to the Federal Register, luxury goods were defined as goods worth $1,000, and it included a long list of examples including wristwatches, leather goods, perfumes, and fountain pens. Vehicles worth over $60,000 were also classified as luxury. The Iranian mission to the United Nations declined to comment. I'll bet they did. I'll bet they did. India's richest man is trying to piss Trump off. He's buying $33 billion in Russian oil. As Trump punishes India for purchasing Russian oil, billionaire Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries finds itself at the center of a diplomatic firestorm. When U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent went on air last month and said some of the richest families in India were profiting off the war in Ukraine, he mentioned no names, but there was little doubt who he was talking about. Billionaire Mukesh Ambani. Asia's richest man, estimated net worth of $100 billion. Drone flights have shut down airports in Denmark and Norway as anxiety over Russia's aerial incursions rises. Russian breaches of NATO airspace have put European military officials and aviation agencies on alert, but it was unclear who flew the drones in Denmark and Norway. The authorities have not identified the operators, a prankster, a state actor, but military and civil aviation officials were on alert across Europe on Tuesday, and the Kremlin issued a snarky denial after mysterious drone sightings forced Denmark and Norway to close their main airports for about 4 hours Monday night. Authorities have not identified the type, number of operators, or the aircraft which were flying in restricted areas. Police are investigating the incidents. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen told reporters Tuesday that Russia was a potential suspect. Cannot rule it out that it is Russia. We have seen drones over Poland that should not have been there. We've seen this activity in Romania. We've seen violations of Estonian airspace. We've seen hacker attacks in European airports over the weekend. Indeed, I got out of the UK just in time as airports were shut down for hours and hours after their reservation systems were hacked over the weekend. Good thing I left on Friday. NATO warns Russia will use all means to defend against airspace breaches after Estonia incursions. Mark Rutte, the Dutch leader of NATO, Secretary General, that will use all means to defend against further incursions. Another test of NATO's preparedness incredibly came last Friday after Estonia said that 3 Russian fighter jets had entered its airspace for 12 minutes without authorization. Russia should be in no doubt NATO and allies will employ in accordance with international law all necessary military and non-military tools to defend ourselves and deter threats from all directions. Just a matter of time before some foolish NATO pilot shoots down a Russian aircraft and we wind up embroiled in a serious war. My goodness. A wealth tax. Well, under Francois Mitterrand, France lost billions and billions, probably $1 trillion worth of resources. People took their money out of the country because of the up to 90% taxes imposed on successful Frenchmen. Now the French left wants to bring it back. Wealth tax takes a comeback in France. Economists' proposal to adopt a hefty wealth tax has strong support in poll as public finances deteriorate. France's slide into political and fiscal dysfunction is generating a groundswell of support for a sweeping wealth tax that would represent a radical break from the pro-business agenda of President Emmanuel Macron. Proposals the work of French economist Gabriel Zucman, a former advisor to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. He wants to impose a 2% tax on the assets of people with net wealth of 100 million euros, $118 million. There you go. Instead of being responsible with the money that you already pilfer from the taxpayers, you want to take more money from them. Not a solid plan. Donald Trump touted his foreign policy successes at the UN and critiqued the global institutions in his UN speech. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. It was on point. He signed an executive order declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, called the loosely organized group a militarist anarchist enterprise opposed to U.S. government and law. In executive order, Trump described Antifa as a militarist anarchist enterprise. The president said the loosely organized group uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide, including coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement of federal laws, from armed standoffs with law enforcement, organized riots, violent assaults on immigration and customs enforcement and other law enforcement officers, and routine doxing and other threats against political figures and activists. Good. It's long overdue. Antifa, as I've always said, is a terrorist organization. Now we have it. The Secret Service has thwarted a massive telecommunications threat in New York City area ahead of the UN General Assembly. A network of devices, including 300 servers and 100,000 SIM cards, were involved. Secret Service said it dismantled a network of electronic devices capable of shutting down cell phone services and carrying out other telecommunications-related threats aimed at U.S. officials ahead of the annual UN General Assembly. The devices located throughout New York's tri-state area carried out anonymous telephonic threats and could conduct denial of service attacks and other illicit telecommunications attacks. Potential for disruption of our country's telecommunications posed by this network of devices cannot be overstated, says Secret Service Director Sean Curran. This year's session of the UN General Assembly began on September 9th at the high-level debate. And here's some of the signal equipment found at a location where they were seized by the Secret Service. Look at that. Who is doing this? Are the Chinese funding this? Early analysis network shows the devices have communicated with nation-state threat actors. Aha! Devices are located within 35 miles of the UN and have potential to significantly disrupt telecommunications in New York. Get all those SIM cards. Look at all those SIM cards. Wow. So, these are the things you don't know about, folks. I'm surprised this was released to the public. The things I know about and I can't share. Oof. A man has been charged with aiming a laser pointer at Trump's helicopter. The incident happened on Saturday night near the White House, and the suspect's been charged with aiming a laser pointer at an aircraft, which is a felony. Secret Service arrests a man suspicious of shining a laser pointer at Marine One as the presidential helicopter was departing the White House with President Trump on board. The incident happened Saturday evening after uniformed Secret Service officer Diego Santiago saw a shirtless man talking to himself and being loud. Due to the lack of light on the sidewalk, Santiago shined his flashlight at the suspect for further observation. The suspect then pointed and shined a red laser beam at him in retaliation. The red laser beam hit Officer Santiago's eyes and briefly disoriented him. Santiago approached the man later identified as Jacob Samuel Winkler, who oriented the same red laser pointer at the direction of Marine One and activated the red laser beam. He said he knew it was a danger to Marine One and everyone on board, which said his conduct posed a risk of flash blindness and pilot disorientation, especially in low-level flight. Yep, handcuffed him. It also had a 3-inch long fixed blade knife. Not a pocket knife, a fixed blade knife. Well, there's no clear path to prevent a government shutdown despite the big beautiful bill being passed. Republicans need Democrats' help to keep the government open. Democrats have made a $1 trillion demand in exchange for that assistance. So we're trying to continue funding at the current level, and the Democrats want to add $1 trillion in new spending for a government that's $2 trillion in deficit. They don't want to govern this country. They want to collapse this country. They have no interest in governing it. Well, Disney announces that slimeball Jimmy Kimmel will return tonight, as if anybody cares. The Walt Disney Corporation announced that Jimmy Slimeball Kimmel's late-night talk show would be back on ABC Airwaves Tuesday, days after he was indefinitely suspended over remarks he made following Charlie Kirk's assassination. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend this idiot's production to avoid further inflaming the tense situation. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with loser Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the moronic show on Tuesday. Disney and ABC caving and allowing Kimmel back in the air is not surprising, but it's their mistake to make, Turning Point spokesman Andrew Coltfoot said. Nexstar and Sinclair do not have to make the same choice. Well, there you go. There you go. Scumbag Jimmy Kimmel. Charlie Kirk poster has ignited a firestorm over free speech. A young conservative placed an order at Office Depot. When he went there, they refused to print the poster. 21-year-old head of the Kalamazoo Young Republicans was running errands to prepare for a vigil 2 days after the assassination. One of his stops was at a local Office Depot to print a poster. Legendary Charlie Kirk. It read atop a black and white photograph. Staff at the Office Depot refused to print the poster for the late Kirk, calling it propaganda, according to Asher. The company said it strives to provide print services to all customers in a fair, consistent, non-discriminatory manner. At the Michigan Store Associates violated company policy by their behavior and decisions. So people are saying, and including Pam Bondi, that Office Depot can suffer the consequence of this. Well, Office Depot can do what they want to do. They didn't violate anyone's rights. They don't have to print that stuff. Just like the Christians who refuse to sell wedding cakes to gay couples. It's their prerogative. Go elsewhere with your business. Go elsewhere with your business. That's not a suspension of free speech. The First Amendment protects us, the government harming our speech. Now, what Office Depot did should widely be spread so that people know not to do business with them because they're bigots. But Office Depot did the right thing and they fired the reprobates who behaved in that fashion. But Office Depot is under no obligation to print anything from you or from me. That's not caressing free speech. And Pam Bondi is wrong on this one. She's wrong on this one. The young man in question said, I believe customers deserve the right to know which company stands where they stand so they make a decision if they want to spend their money there. Yep. He said he believed business should be free to operate how they want and sell products to whom they want, including refusing him service. And he's right. And I agree with him 100%. Yep. Apparently the government wants to go after Office Depot. No. Well, some really disgusting comments coming from morons on college campuses. They're happy that his voice was silenced. Why more college kids are embracing political violence. University of Maryland College Park, just down the road from here in the Washington suburbs, some students say extreme measures are sometimes appropriate to shut down political speech that they don't like. Sophia, a 19-year-old idiot sophomore studying biology, said some of her friends were celebrating the death of conservative icon Charlie Kirk because they disagreed not only with his political views, but also considered him a threat. A lot of my friends that day were like, well, I feel like I'm happy that Charlie Kirk is dead, but then I also feel guilty that I feel that way. I think a lot of it is just he's spreading so much hate, misinformation, encouraging violence. And so I think that in this scenario, a lot of people were not necessarily happy that he died, but happy that his voice was silenced. And I'm dismayed at how stupid you are. Encouraging violence? Charlie Kirk never encouraged violence. He encouraged debate, and that's why he was murdered. But that's what the youth of America are all about. Well, the Washington Post, the Compost runs a story about where the dollar is still strong, where you can still get a good bargain. And guess what? South Africa is one of those places. Low cost and favorable exchange rates can make some countries more approachable. Table Mountain National Park, one of the most popular tourist attractions in Cape Town. Depending on your dream destinations, your bucket list trip may now be a valued destination. Although the dollar is slumping at home, it's still strong in many countries, such as South Africa, Japan, or South Korea. Well, it's time for me to go back to Japan. Yay! I love Japan. It was fantastic. Okay, back to that story. I talked about this earlier. The super chat came in on. An African hunter refugee family set up a GoFundMe facing new battle. Earl Langton, who works at a car wash in the U.S. Okay. Megan Funder, he doesn't work at a car wash. He runs a car wash. He's the manager. Boy, there's a big difference between working at a car wash and running it. He's launched GoFundMe over his family's recent setback. African refugee Earl, and they're still using quotes for it. Earl Langton has set up a GoFundMe campaign to raise $50,000 for his wife's cancer treatment. South African IT businessman, part-time farmer, is now working in the U.S. at a car wash. As a car wash supervisor. That's correct. Earl and his family were one of the first groups of white South Africans who arrived in the U.S. But no, see, they're not. Oh gosh, they're just obsessed with this skin color stuff. The racial minority victims was racial discrimination and white genocide. No one ever said they were victims of white genocide. See, Megan, I know you watch my program. Stop running with that bullshit. No one said they were victims of white genocide. Just you people in the press in South Africa. They never claimed that. Trump never claimed that. Only you clowns claimed that. The GoFundMe post earlier this month, Earl appealed to the public to help him fund his wife's cervical cancer treatment. Family recently immigrated to the U.S. from as well. Okay, well, he's wrong. You didn't immigrate. You fled to America. That's the correct term. You didn't immigrate, Earl. You fled to America. You didn't immigrate. It's not immigration. All right? That's the wrong terminology. Recently fled to America as refugees. Starting over has been both humbling and exhausting, and we poured everything into building a new life. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, they're running the story. So, do they have comments? There's comments. So, I already talked about this story, so I'm not sure why you wanted me to bring this story up. I talked about it because I was going into the story about this story here. So, let me get this for you, folks. This Back a Buddy campaign. Because a well-known South African content creator on TikTok made a video that was very bad taste and bad form, attacking Earl Langton and kind of reveling in the fact that Jay has cervical cancer by stating that, well, the grass isn't greener. Shouldn't have gone to the States. I got free care here. But I can point to many, many South Africans who've lost family members because of racist and incompetent hospital staff at state-run hospitals. So here's, by contrast, here is a white family in South Africa who can't get medical care at a state hospital because of racism. And so they're trying to desperately raise money to save the patriarch of the family who's had 3 heart attacks in the past and needs a heart operation. And rather than get free care, which he can't get because he's white, Christophe Francois de Jager is trying to raise R500,000 for his heart treatment. Yesterday we had some donations, 2,000 for me, Wyatt Army, Anonymous Wyatt Army, Wyatt Army, Wyatt Army, Anonymous Wyatt Army, none, Anonymous, D. Whitfield. There's 500 from Hendo, Lana Fisser, Anonymous, and 1,300 from the Wyatt Army. Raised a total up to 7,400 for the 500,000. Long way to go there, folks, but you're welcome to donate to this if you like. Here is the link to the back of Buddy so that you can go there if you want. I'll keep putting this up. I know this family personally. I know that people have donor fatigue, so you don't have to donate. And realize that every time I do this, I'm potentially taking Super Chat money away that could come my way. So, just saying. Also, I've donated money of my own. So, all right. So, if you want to help this family out, I've met the daughters, lovely kids, and met the family. I've been with them, hung out with them. And this is some tragic news for them. They are trapped in South Africa, being harassed by bigots and racists and envious businesses that don't like what he does. And now he's suffering from a tragic heart situation. So there you go. Cancer because the government hospital did not treat it properly. There you go, Justainer. Exactly right. Yep. Try my surname, initials, and what's this? I'm all for freedom of speech, but I'm worried about the extremist mentality amongst the left. It's almost that they want civil war. They do want civil war because they're idiots. They've never been in war. See, people who are always trying to incite warfare are the ones who've never been in war. Mad Max, I sent this to your WhatsApp last message from Morgan. Data program plan. Okay, thank you for that, Mad Max. Okay. When did you send it? When did you send it? I don't see anything. Oh, there it is. Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you. Oh, you just sent it again. Okay, I got it. Yep. I got a bunch of WhatsApp since I went on air. Okay. And there's a super chat from Legion, 300 Rand. Thank you for that super sticker. And thank you, Mad Max, for 35 Rand. Father also died in a public hospital because his cancer wasn't treated in time. Yeah, just another girl. Yep, exactly. Exactly. I get why they allowed Jimmy Kimmel back in the air. He's not funny. Most of the time he's condescending, snarky, and rude. He's disrespectful, asshat. Yeah, I don't get it either. Jimmy Kimmel's a waste of oxygen. I don't know why they like him. If you speak English, you think and talk in English. If you speak Afrikaans, you think and talk in Afrikaans. Ja, kann man sagen. Wie sagt man, wenn man schon mehr als 6 Sprachen können? Wie denkt man dann im Kopf? Ich persönlich, ich träume auf Deutsch, ich träume auf Französisch, ich träume auf Englisch und ich denke auf Deutsch. Die Verben kommen am Ende, nicht am Anfang, wie auf Englisch. Das ist ganz anders. Qu'est-ce qu'on dit? Si on pense dans la tête, c'est que c'est vraiment quelque chose différent que les autres langues. Moi-même, je pense en français. J'ai les rêves en français. Ça dépend de la journée. Okay? I speak poor English, says Ingrid. France, no doubt, under Macron, recognized Palestine and said France needs to revert to a traditional Christian country. Funny how people that don't understand Afrikaans still know what... I can't read what that says. UN, yep, just your usual. Somaliland. Yeah, Minnesota is kind of a Somaliland. It's also a Hmong land. Thank you for 300 Rand, Legion. My chat, no, it's not locked up here. Why is it making me undo that? It's weird. Stop it, you're getting ladies going. I don't think so. Je ne crois pas. C'est pas quelque chose pour les femmes. Les femmes ne sont pas influencées par God avec ces choses-là. Donc, pour cette raison, je continuais en français. Demain, je ne serai pas là parce que je prends avion pour le voyage. Drink water is written off for... Yeah. Kamala Harris was bailing it. I know. She should be prosecuted. but I don't think you can do it retrospectively. Retroactively, excuse me. Not retrospectively. Retrospectively, let's think about it. No, retroactively. And how is Born My Sea? Love it when he speaks foreign. Now the Colonel's just showing off. No. If I was showing off, I'd speak other languages. But I'm not doing that. Anyway, folks, there's the news for today. What'd you think? We're at 400 people still. What did we peak at? Let's see what we peaked at. We peaked at 540 people were here. We had that for about 15 minutes, and then they disappeared. Anyway, so the Trumpster was incredible. I was laughing my butt off. Oh, my goodness. I come to the UN, and what do I get? All I get is a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter after Trump left stage. We want to reassure the leaders who are speaking the teleprompter is functioning properly. He wasn't talking about today. He was talking about another time. And he didn't hold back against China. He didn't hold back against Brazil. Didn't hold back against NATO. Didn't hold back against Europeans. You're stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. It's 382 likes. You're stupid. I'm sure some people did go to watch him. That usually happens. But they started leaving before he came on. So, but he doesn't have many viewers watching him right now. Let's take a look and see. Let's see if it even tells me he's there, because they weren't doing that for a long time, YouTube. He's got more people. Oh, it's because he's stolen my thunder. He's explaining why he joined the Freedom Front Plus. That's what's going on. The Conscious Caracle's live with Ian Cameron. Ian Cameron keeps promise come on. But he hasn't been on my program.
Not only did she not, there was no evidence of any criminal offense that she committed, but just purely, one person's allegation.
So Ian Cameron is on there. Almost nobody's watching that. But Ronaldo's got a bigger audience because he's talking about why he joined the Freedom Front Plus. That's why. There'll be news tomorrow. All the stories will talk about how the racist Ronaldo Cruz is joining the racist white party of the Freedom Front Plus. You watch and see. You watch and see. It's coming tomorrow.
Do a blood pressure check just to see if his blood pressure is still fine.
USA Minion.
Considering,
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for us crazy Wyatt soldiers here in South Africa. Thanks for telling the truth, but nothing but the truth. You're very welcome, USA Minion. My pleasure. Been doing it for 5 years with very little reward. Lana says her credit card was cloned. How did that happen? Did you ever near somebody? Missed most of what happened working. Okay, Sumari. Thank you for the super chats, guys. That's awesome. Tomorrow is Bride Day. Yeah, that's right. Bride Day is tomorrow. This is a members only from last year? Wait a second. Oh, it says I'm live right now, not this video. Okay. This is a... Wow. 1 year ago. It doesn't even tell me how many views are on it. Huh. Members only. Interesting. Sorry, I just showed me a video of mine from a year ago, and it says it's members only. I didn't realize it's members only. Huh. Anyway, back to the story here. So how are we doing here? Yeah, thank you for the super chats. What was Ronaldo going to do about LGBT? Yeah, exactly, Side Offer Connor. I don't know what he's going to do. He's going to have to be quiet about it. Morgen hätten wir schon wollen, nur trauen wir uns nicht dürfen. Big hugs. Thank you, Leslie Ann. Thank you. Anything not ANC is racist. You have to actually have food to be able to braai. It's true, Chris. Chris, can we do our interview next week, the end of next week? Are you up for that? We'll do an interview with Chris Ehlers. I'm thinking next Friday, probably. I have to check and see when I get back Thursday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. Let me see. Hang on a second. When do I get back? Where the heck is that at? Oh, crapola. It's not here. I know where it's at. Hang on a second. It's in the wrong place. It was before all this. Where are you hiding at? There it is. No, that's not it. Can't find. I had this thing open. Give me a second here. All right. Okay, there it is. Okay, now I've saved it. Okay, got it. So I will be back. Oh, no, it'll have to be Friday because I don't get back till late Thursday. It is Thursday the 2nd, right? Yeah. Yeah, so. Oh, yeah. So it'll have to be Friday, Chris, if you're up for it. You let me know, okay? All right. Sick of it all. Also got issues with clone number plates. Yeah, that's terrible. And people get citations for clone number plates. They didn't even do it. Gus, what's going on, man? How you doing? Online orientation. You're supposed to get an orientation program to explain to you what the United States is, a bit about the United States. There are so many people being processed right now that they can't do it individually, so they're doing it online. You also get an orientation from the refugee assistance when you get to the States. So, yep. Number 7, pot, all prepared. I don't know what that means. Got me fears go to ATM. The money might be. I don't use ATMs, guys. I don't use ATMs. That's one way to avoid it because that's a big target for cloning. Don't worry, I stick with no matter who is streaming, says Ian. Well, okay, Ian, thank you. The super chats are much appreciated because it's been a really slow month. Thank you guys for that. I have to take a look real quick here and see what's happened to my channel as far as the ad revenue. Because the ad revenue is I was starting to make money off of ad revenue. But that seems to have fallen off. Let me take a look here. Ad revenue. That's not what I want. I'm looking in the wrong place. This is what I want. There we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, YouTube. Slow, 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 slow. Oh, come on, YouTube. Gee, many crickets. Ridiculous. Oh, now, as soon as I hit the refresh button, it comes up. Needs to switch CR's mic off. Yeah, I'm going to have to check into what happened with him. Oh, come on. YouTube is such a pain in the ass when you need to work. You're getting it in the live streams about the other ones. Well, that's a problem. So, yeah, the ad revenue is way down. Super chats are barely ahead of memberships. Yeah, so, yeah, way down. The ad revenue has gone way down. Let me take a look at this graph over. Okay. Yeah, I'm only making $10 a day or something like that past 7 days for ads, which means not many videos are being watched. Yep. Yep, that's the bottom line. Chicken fraudster threatening me. Here's my delivery address. 5-year-old. Seen subs has been steady at 112 for a while, and well done 112. Oh yeah, it's been there for a long time, Raven. It's we hit 112 a long time ago. Yeah, and in the UK, my content was not really pushed at all. It was hidden. So I hit 112,000 on September 3rd, so the entire month. So 20 days, we've gained 540 subscribers in 20 days. That's not much. During Hack, ja natürlich, schon seit 1984. Ich habe mich selbst gelehrt, Deutsch. Als Gefreiter in Deutschland stationiert und später habe ich also die Grammatik auf der Universität gelernt und ich habe auch Theater auf Deutsch gemacht. Ja. Und ich habe geschrieben auf Deutsch und studiert auf Deutsch auch. Passed many times to Wittbank in the N4. David Simpson, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Car guarding, being pressured by the police and company, paying out of pocket. Gee, many crickets. I don't know what happened with Robin Poe's mic. I missed it. I don't know how you guys saw it. Driver's license expired in 2023. Every time I flew back to South Africa, they had excuses, so in the end, it just didn't bother anymore. Yep, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Hey, Julia, how you doing? Okay. Yeah, Raven, it's been stuck at 112. Yeah, we've really been. I hit 100,000 on June 3rd, I think it was. Let me see. 100,000 I hit on June 4th. June 4th, I hit 100,050. So from June 4th, July, August, September 4th, almost 4 months, we've gained 12,000. That's not a lot. But hey, I'm not complaining. I'll take it. I'll take it. Happy. But the thing is, it's great to have that many subscribers, but you need the views. People need to watch content. So I did over 110 videos when I was in the UK for 30 days, and a lot of them did very poorly. Some did well. Some did well, but not all of them. Anyway, by the way, the Truth Report, let's see if they finally bothered to publish my video, which I gave them now 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they're, if you're wondering why I haven't been doing videos every day on the Truth Report, it's because my videos aren't getting published. I mean, they asked me to do a video, and I did it, and it's still not there. Yeah. My video is still not there. Hang on. All right, I've sent a note off the Truth Report and tell them if they're not going to publish my content, I'm not going to make videos. Bought a baseball mitt, okay? Raven says, why is that? Why is what, Raven? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Raven. Who are you talking to? Yep. Yeah, now we're publishing videos from people I don't even know who they are that are on the Truth Report. Never even heard of them. Never even heard of these people. Yeah, Chris, I know. There's a lot of people that are only on the Truth Report because of me. No, my videos are published. Why is it? I don't know. Because I'm not there and they've forgotten about me. So they had a little confab, and Ronaldo and Sama Sambit went to it, and they were there with Rob, and they made a bunch of videos, and they prioritized all those videos, which aren't timely. They're just general topics, and so they're publishing all that content, rolling them out. And they asked me to make a video in a production meeting. I dropped what I was doing on what arguably was supposedly a vacation, which wasn't. I went and recorded a video for them. That's been 2 weeks ago, and it's still yet to appear on there. So whatever. Look, I mean, I don't have to make content for them. So anyway. When did YouTube admit the Biden administration forced censor accounts? Where did you see that, Andebrant? Because my account was reinstated after that troll left YouTube. Yep. Okay, breaking news. Where? Is that a newspaper? Is that a YouTube channel? Is that on X? What is breaking news? Where are you? I asked you where you got it and you wrote breaking news. That's not helpful. I know you mean well, but I can't read minds. Yep, anyway. Just tell me where to find it. YouTube admits, let me see, I'll try a Google search. Oh, there it is. House Judiciary Committee. Wow, thank you. I got it. Thank you, Andy Bryant. Wow. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Sorry. I'm looking for this. Yeah, I think that YouTube should be paying serious penalties for destroying my business. Google to reinstate banned YouTube accounts, censor political speech. Tech giant admits Biden administration pressure platform to remove COVID-19 content. First on Fox. Google vowed on Tuesday to offer YouTube accounts that were permanently banned for political speech the ability to be reinstated. The big tech giant admitted that it once faced pressure from the Biden regime to remove content about COVID-19. Google detailed its remarkable shift in document first obtained by Fox News. The new policy from Google, also noted by its parent company's Outback, could affect average users, well-known figures like FBI Director Dan Bongino, Counterterrorism Chief Sebastian Gorka. Reflecting the company's commitment to free expression, YouTube will provide an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeat offense of COVID-19 and elections integrity policy no longer in effect. Well, you slimy shitheads took my channel down when I didn't violate it because I didn't even talk about COVID, and you took my channel down. This is a big story. Thank you, Andebrand. That's a huge story. All the people who they committed censorship against. Wow, I'm going to do a live on that. That'll be my evening topic. I'm going to do it. That'll be my live this evening. Unbelievable. They censor my channel. Bongino ended his conservative radio show, which live streamed on Rumble when he joined the administration. He's attributed his popularity on that platform, permanently losing his YouTube account. YouTube permanently banned Bongino, who had one of the most followed accounts on the platform, for spreading what it said was false information about COVID-19 mask. Document includes a section about the Biden administration said White House official time pushed Google behind the scenes to remove perceived misinformation. Perceived. A lawyer for Google said also the big tech platform censored content independently. This is a violation of the First Amendment. Google has admitted to violating the First Amendment in collusion with the federal government. Federal officials must be charged with violation of the Constitution with federal crimes by constraining free speech. They must be imprisoned. The Biden regime must be imprisoned. Wow. Wow. The administration created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. Google's revelations came in response to a years-long Republican-led investigation into what happened. Lawsuit brought by 2 Republican attorneys general over social media censorship. Discovery in that case largely mirrored what the committees uncovered. Supreme Court ultimately did not decide on the merits of the case. Murthy versus Missouri instead found the plaintiffs lacked standing to bring it. Bullshit. They didn't lack standing. Wow. Wow. That's huge news. That's huge news. Well, the damage has been done. People are dead. Lives are ended. People off themselves. Businesses were harmed. My channel, which had gone from 2 to 23,000 subscribers in 5 months, was on a trajectory of 100,000 within a few months when YouTube began attacking my channel. They caused me undue stress. Probably caused all this gray hair. And harmed my reputation, my business reputation, by fraudulently censoring my channel when I didn't even say those things. Under the draconian bullshit that they pulled. I want a class action lawsuit against this platform today. Where are the lawyers? Step forward. Class action lawsuit. I want $500 billion in compensation to YouTube content creators who lost their businesses and whose reputations were tarnished by your actions. Well, I wasn't censored for 24 years. I self-censored because I was a commissioned officer. I was censored in the last decade. Well, Steb, I don't care about putting Biden in prison. I'm talking about the FBI. I'm talking about Dr. Fauci. I'm talking about the National Institutes for Health, the CDC, the White House Communications Office, all of these criminals who violated the First Amendment. Alphabet owns YouTube. Alphabet. The FCC. That's right. Yep. Wow. Here's what they admitted to. The Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans to remove content that did not violate their policies. That did not violate. Who said this crap the other day? Who was attacking me the other day and saying I was whining on Ronaldo's channel that I didn't violate? I said I didn't violate their policies. Oh, Chris is whining. No. It's a fact. It's a fact. I have the damn emails to prove it. I have the screenshots to prove it. I didn't violate anything. They destroyed my channel. And they're still destroying my channel. The other one. And they're harming this channel. This is not enough. This is not enough. I want the algorithm to have the shit taken out of it that censors and prohibits the spread and promotion of our content. It's not enough that they admit their crimes. The Biden administration's censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Well, of course it was. And you slimy bastards did what they told you to do. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying authorities. The company will never use third-party fact checkers. You didn't use fact checkers. You just censored content. You used software to censor content. And if one of the people in my chat said something you didn't like, you censored my videos. I'm going to have to make a video and show you the crap that they pulled on me. I have all the emails, and they're not in my Google account. I made sure of that. They're in a third-party account, so I can retrace for evidentiary proof of the scumbag behavior of YouTube. Antitrust lawsuit would make me feel good, but it won't give me any compensation for the harm done. I want a 7-figure payday. Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. These major missions come after Comey subpoenaed Google in a years-long investigation. Wow. Google actually wrote a letter to admit their crimes. Yeah, here it is. From their attorneys. Wow. Oh my goodness. This is huge. This is huge. Google admits its crimes. Now, I don't know what the law says as far as the fact they colluded with the government, because they can censor speech. But they did so on behest of the government, which makes them an accessory to a constitutional violation. I think the people at Google, Susan Wojcicki, she's dead, but the rest of them ought to have bench warrants for their arrest. They should be in court facing lawsuits for silencing American speech, along with all these others. Wow. This is huge. Thank you, Underbrand. Thank you for telling me that. Okay, the reason I asked for where you found it is because lots of people talk about breaking stories that never show up in the news. Like that laser thing. I had to look long and hard for that laser thing. I found that on my own, but I came across that in a South African news report, and I didn't want the South African news to be the source. So I looked long and hard, and I had to find it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Wow. Wow. This is huge. This is huge. Yep. Yeah, they did something to this channel a few months ago as well. So they're still doing it. They admit to their crimes, but they're still doing it. Yeah, AI police waved a gun. It was a photograph. It's nonsense. There's nothing on the Truth Report for me. I've just looked. I looked. There's nothing there. So I'm on the Truth Report for you, my channel. My channel says 2 weeks ago. No, you didn't see anything from me on YouTube today. There's not on the Truth Report. There's nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Censorship, when wielded as a tool of power, doesn't just silence voice, it distorts reality. Yep. Yeah, this is a story I can run with. Google won't be sued. When Google tell Trump they will invest another $500 billion U.S., Trump will make all lawsuits go away. You might be right. U.S., you can start a mobile company here, yeah. Government, you don't need a government loan. You need a loan from a bank. Government doesn't loan people for that stuff. No, Underground, it's fine, man. You tipped me off to it, but I mean, I went and did a Google search because you didn't respond. I got it. I got it now. I've got the letter right here. It's a 3-page letter. Hang on. Actually, what's this? Oh, that's for my flight. I mean, that's paying my tolls, my bill for paying the tolls. So this is what it cost me to go to and from the airport. Make sure there's nothing compromising. Nothing on here. So $11.80 to drive to and from the airport. That is a 15-mile trip or 12-mile trip. 12 mile on if it's even that on the turnpike. 10 miles, I think it's 10 miles. So it's 10 miles. 10 miles cost me $11.80 to go there and back. Can you believe that? To go 10 miles, to go 32 kilometers total, cost me $212 Rand. 212 Rand to go to the airport and back. That's what it cost me in my car. Unbelievable. Here's the letter. It's several pages long. 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. 5 pages. And there is the law firm King and Spalding. They admitted their complicit behavior in crimes. The virtual Western Cape, yeah, because they've got to pay that, plus they've got to make money. Uber would be $45, but that's not the point. It's a road I paid for with fuel taxes. Why am I paying a toll on it? The road was built, it was a toll road to pay for the cost of the road 100 years ago. It's been paid off for 80 years. Well, free spirit, there is no genuine competitor to YouTube. Rumble's a joke. Its live streaming still sucks, and it was delivered 2 years after it was promised. And only people who are famous actually get any traction on Rumble because it doesn't do anything to promote your content. It doesn't pay people. I've never gotten a cent from Rumble, even though I've earned money there. The whole thing is just Dan Bongino's corrupt little place for his friends to hang out. What's the other one we had? We had so many of these other sites. None of them ever panned out. You guys are missing the point. It has nothing to do with a taxi. It's not public transportation. That's the cost of using the road on top of the highest, second highest petrol taxes in the country that I pay in this state. This is bullshit. The road should be free. Anyway. Well, yeah, car maintenance and and inspections, annual inspections. But I don't have a problem with annual inspections because a lot of people would otherwise have cars that aren't roadworthy and be threats to public safety. A lot of them are already threats to public safety because they don't know how to drive. But driving a dangerous car or not having insurance is worse. In order to get your car registered and stay on the road, you have to be inspected annually in Pennsylvania, pass the emissions test, pass the safety test, brakes, transmission, body, lights, horn, all that stuff, as well as show proof of insurance. So I don't have a problem with that. Elon Musk does stand on his own without federal subsidies. Starlink's getting no federal subsidies. SpaceX is not getting federal subsidies. It's fulfilling a contract. That's not a subsidy. How many miles on my Toyota? I don't think I've hit 100,000 yet, Max. I drove it yesterday because my car was getting inspected. So I drove my Toyota yesterday. I don't think it has 100,000 miles on it. It's been all over the world. Yeah, the Truth Report does not have my video. I just looked. I looked at For You. I looked at the video list. I looked at my channel. Nothing there. Nothing there. So I don't know what video you saw, but my video is not there. Wow, YouTube admits. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is huge news, folks. Thank you for that, Underbrand. That is huge. That is huge, huge, huge news. Wow. Anyway. Alrighty, guys. We've been at this for an hour and 47 minutes. That's crazy. I can't really we've been at this long. Wow. I wonder if I should go on my censored channel and do the stream on there. So taxes, yeah. Okay. Heinrich, how's it going? Mad Max, that vehicle I got in 2004, and it's a V8. And unfortunately, it's an automatic, but whatever. Actually, that's not so bad. But I got it in 2000 because you couldn't get it standard. In 2004, and then in 2008, I took it to Botswana. While in Botswana, I took it to South Africa, Eswatini, to Namibia. And then from there, I brought it back to the States. And then from the States, I shipped it to Germany. In Germany, it was in basically almost every Western European country except in Scandinavia. And then in Spain. I didn't go to the Iberian Peninsula. I didn't go to Scandinavia. But other than that, it was pretty much every Western European country. And then from there, I shipped it to Uganda. And I had it in Uganda. From Uganda, I shipped it to Ethiopia. I had it in Ethiopia. From Ethiopia, I shipped it back to the States. That truck's been all over the place. All right. Oh, South African taxis would never pass a roadworthy test without, if you have honest people there. Alan, yeah, well, that's not my primary vehicle for getting around. That's a vehicle that I cherish. I can't get a V8 now because of this stupid emissions bullshit. Hopefully that'll be rolled back so we can get proper cars in the future again. You can only get a 6-cylinder, get hybrids and bullshit like that has no muscle. So I haven't bought something to replace it. If I want to get a V8, I have to spend $80,000 to $100,000 on a truck to get a V8. It's hard to get. So anyway, I drive that much as well, but in my other car. So my other car is 10 years old and it has well over 120,000 miles on it. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Underbrand, for breaking that news to me. That's huge news. I'll do a short on that here shortly, and then I will also do a live stream on that probably later tonight. Yep, parts are everywhere. Yep. All right, you guys take care. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Cheers.